Hey guys, welcome to Truelatinos podcast. I'm your host, Ron, and I have my other co-host, Lehi.
Hey, hey.
So in today's topic, I really want to talk about our childhood, how we grew up, being immigrants to, adults now and navigating through that kind of life, as well as what we're doing at the moment. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things I don't know about you, Lehi, in terms of like we've been friends for like I think almost half my lifetime now. And there's
Yeah,
still
about.
some things that I still don't know about you. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, actually, yeah.
So if we get to that, I'll just start off quickly saying that I was born in Mexico, grew up there for about 5 to 6 years. Kind of don't remember a lot.
Mhm.
Came to the States to Atlanta, Georgia around 97, 98.
Why'd you come?
My dad used to own in Mexico billboard company and it was doing great. There was no need to come to a different country or anything of that nature. And all of a sudden the economy went down in Mexico. The
Mhm.
peso went down like tremendously. Like it was just like here whenever there was like a crash, it just did. And so everybody lost a lot and he couldn't really come back from that. He had to sell everything and then he came to the US at around what year 93, 94.
With your mom or just
No,
by
just by
himself?
himself.
Gotcha.
He's by himself in Georgia when it was just like nothing or nobody, like here in Georgia. Like it was like, I mean, over there in Georgia, Arizona, sorry. And yeah, so he did that. He was working. He lived in Kennesaw.
Oh, really? Georgia?
Yeah, yeah. He said
Damn.
that he remembers whenever there was just like a two-lane highway.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, they're still building Kansas out right now, so
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
to
But
me
it was just
thinking
like
about it. Yeah.
he said it was just all forest, just like just nothing. Like which is pretty cool to think, right? Because when you see it, and so he's so well with knowing all the streets and highways and everything. Every time I got lost, I can just call him and he knows exactly where to go. But going back to him being arriving here around 94, 93, was here for a couple years. And then after a while, my mom kind of was like, I don't want to do this by myself here in Mexico either. So I'm just heading over to here. So we got our visas and we came through plane to Atlanta to meet him. And yeah, that was when the Olympics were happening in Atlanta in '97. So it was pretty fun
You also have
to
brothers. You
be.
gotta mention that too. Older
Yes, my
brothers. You
brother.
are the youngest.
I
So
am the youngest. I'm the baby of the family. I have two older brothers and an older sister. All four of us that came through as well. They have a lot more recollection of Mexico because they got here when they were 13, 12 years old. So they kind of got to experience best of both worlds, I guess you can say.
you know what's weird because I met your siblings. They don't sound like they have an accent.
My sister does.
Really, Linda?
Linda, yeah.
Okay.
If you I mean, like, okay, like, accent in the sense of, like, she knows English,
Yeah.
like, 100%, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's an accent to that English that she still will have because she learned English at a
Later
older
age.
age. She was,
Yeah.
like, 15 or 14.
I don't know if it happened to you, but both of us grew up in the United States, right? Most
Yep,
of our life.
yep.
There's still some words that I cannot pronounce or like I fumble through,
Like,
and it's
which ones?
like I don't know. I don't really know. Like
Can you say mayonnaise?
procrastination. I can say mayonnaise. Like
Cucumbers?
okay, my brother Sammy, right? Is like you're a couple years younger than me. And he grew up here and was born here, or
Yeah,
whatever.
yep.
He couldn't say when he was a little kid Burger King. He said Burger King or something like that. Burger King.
I think that was a lot of kids, though, right? Like, a lot of kids, like,
Was
when we
it?
were younger, we can't pronunciate certain, like, words still.
Oh, I don't know that, but like I know an adult now, like I can say it now. I mean, or I can say the words that I couldn't say, and sometimes I still struggle, especially with vocab words. Like the really long ones. That
Interesting. I think I could relate. I'm trying to remember if there's a word that I can't pronounce or pronunciate, I guess. Like, but I'm trying to, like, I guess on the spot I can't think of anything. But I think you're right. I think it's just more of like our brains triggering to switching back and forth from Spanish to English. And so now it's like working double time. So
well,
now you're trying to
yeah,
like translate it, and then you're just like you're trying to make it see. I don't know, and I guess that's why there's called Spanglish,
yeah,
right? Because it's just
yeah.
like we go back and forth, like we start creating words. Like nowadays, we say parqueate, and parqueate is not an actual word.
No,
It's estacionarte.
yeah,
Well, or at least in Mexico, we say estacionate. That's the right word. But
yeah,
parqueate comes from the word park,
yeah.
and just want to add an ETA or something at the end of it. Parqueate or TEA or whatever at this to make it
Yeah,
sound like it's in
e
Spanish.
exactly. Like, what do you say carpet? What's carpet in Spanish to you?
Carpeta, but it's
Alfombra,
not.
alfombra. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
But
just
it's like carpet, carpeta. Like
right,
it's
right,
just
right,
like
just
you're just
like
trying to add a TA or a TION to everything, which is funny. So I think that's why sometimes like we understand and we hear it and we want to say it, but it's just our word. We it just doesn't come out when we pronunciate it sometimes.
it's the English language that gets on me all messed up sometimes where,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I especially me trying to convert my Spanish to English or no, or other way around, my English to Spanish
Yeah.
because, like, I feel like I have a better, more vocabulary in English, and sometimes I talk using not necessarily big words, but a little bit more sophisticated vocabulary.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my Spanish is still kinda like elementary level, so I'm trying to think of words that are kinda dumbed down from English to Spanish, you know?
Like what do you mean dumb down?
Kinda like so if I say, let's say sophisticated, right? That's the word. How would I say that in Spanish, right? I don't know the word in Spanish because I'm not, that fluent in Spanish, like vocabulary-wise, you know?
Me
So
neither.
so
Me
it
neither.
so I would kinda like describe
So,
what sophisticated means, you know?
and isn't it sofisticado?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it is, yeah. But yeah,
It
that was
could
an
be, but I
example,
don't
right?
know either. Sometimes I think I do, and I catch myself at work, and that's when I know because remember I talk to people from Mexico for what I do for jobs, so that's when I start realizing I don't know really too much Spanish. And my older siblings, since I was younger, would make fun of me, roast me, and make fun of me in the sense of like they would make me want to repeat a word that I said in Spanish that I thought was right, and they were like, "What did you just say?" And then they will start just going at me.
Wow.
But I will say that whenever they start talking English and they can't pronunciate a word or something, I come back at them. And I'm like, "Oh, you
Definitely.
can't, blah, blah, blah." Or like inglés sin barreras. That
Oh,
used
I
to
guess
be a
that's
classic, bro. If
that's
you're
so funny.
Hispanic, if you're listening, and then and if every family household had inglés sin barreras, that was like the Duolingo or like the the Rosetta Stone of back in the day
My
to
parents
learn
had it too.
English.
We bought in
Yeah,
Miami,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and they had I remember the case too, it was all a full case decked
It
out.
was yeah,
The
yeah.
cassette, the video VHS,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. That's
whole
crazy, dude. That's
booklet.
funny. That's funny.
They made a
But
killing
yeah.
though, honestly, like, that company should
Oh,
be, like,
yeah.
millions of
Yeah.
dollars.
I would think so. I wonder what happened to them. I'm curious. I'll look that up on my own time just to see what the company like, did they sell it or did they just, fall out or whatever? But yeah, I'm pretty sure for those couple years they were making a killing
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
100%. Your
Going
dad
back, sorry, because it's this, but it's fun, to do sidetrack notes.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I came to the States in 96, 97. I was about 5 or 6 years old. Everything was new to me. I mean, of course, the America was very different back then as well.
Did you know any
Um,
English or no?
no, I didn't know any English,
Mm,
and the realization when I didn't know any English was when I went to elementary school. Obviously, I was in elementary school, and it was like the second grade that I came in
mm,
to the States, and my a teacher in the morning in the mornings asked me if I wanted or what was I looking for or if I needed something because I looked lost because I was lost. And I just, dude, my heart sunk to my stomach. I had like a stomach ache. And I just like with my hand was trying to motion that I was hungry and wanted to eat. And I was like almost crying because I just I couldn't translate what I wanted. And that's when I realized like how difficult it was to like do it. And then I was even in for elementary until like almost middle school, I was in ESOL,
really?
which like for a lot of people, I don't know nowadays if they still have that in schools. I don't know what it's called now, but back then it was called ESOL for like, and I don't know I should know what it stands for, but I guess maybe for English speaking or English speaking
Mm,
something like
yeah,
for like basically people that don't know how to speak English. It's for like a class that they'll take to like learn the simple vocabulary, the sentences, and all that in words. So once I started learning that, it's just crazy, right? Because as you get older, I don't remember not knowing English.
right?
Like now, when I think about it, it's like how could I not? Like but there was a time when I did because I do remember that for me that little part when I was a kid when I had to do that, and that's the only really memory that I have of me not knowing English. And then from there, I started learning a lot of English. I didn't want to speak Spanish anymore, and my mom was not having it because, and I'm grateful because if she didn't force me to speak Spanish, I probably would have forgotten it,
Mm.
and I would have been as we consider now no sabo kids.
I forgot about that word.
Like yeah, the no
New
sabo
word.
kids, like yeah, that doesn't really know. they understand the Spanish but can't speak it. So yeah, but I learned it. My dad always helped me out with the words that I couldn't pronounce it because he was a teacher in Mexico as well. He studied in the university and went to college, and he studied to be a elementary school teacher.
Mm,
And so he's very, I guess you could say he is very prolific and advanced with his vocabulary in Spanish, certain words that I would never know. And
makes
he would
sense.
teach me and kind of break it down to me and teach me what they were. But yeah, as I came to, like I said, Georgia, I stayed in Kennesaw with a family that was helping my dad when he was working. Where forever I'm grateful for them. Like they were American. They were a couple and they didn't have any kids. So they took us in and super nice, very welcoming. The guy, we call him our uncle, our tío, and he was a manager. I guess what do you call it? Like an Andretti's,
Okay,
kind of
okay, yeah.
like a main event, like, but back then it was called in Georgia Malibu Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's still
Grand
there.
Prix. Yeah. So there was one in Kennesaw, I believe,
Yeah.
and he would always give us tokens for free to go play.
Um,
So it
do
was
you
so cool.
you ever wrote the little water thing? The
Oh
little
yeah, yeah, the
water
one with
race?
like you could shoot water out too.
Yeah, yeah,
The little
yeah,
machine, yeah, dude,
yeah.
it's crazy. Like it was just like so it was fun, like growing up and like kind of like get to see like like I said, Georgia. Like I lived there all my life, and yeah, like after that, my siblings are still everybody from the intermediate family still lives there. Like I said, I recently just moved to Arizona 2 years ago
Mm,
for a job opportunity, which was the scariest thing because you're so used to where you live, so comfortable, I guess you can say. And
mhm.
then, just, but like I said, like I had hit a roadblock with my career there. And, I just needed to change. I think it was just like kind of like everything all at once, career, personal life, everything just all at once was just like, and it was just kind of like a sign to kind of like, all right, let me just take this like opportunity,
Yeah.
and I did. And but yeah, like growing up, like I said, like it was fun trying to learn the English, made a lot of friends, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And then like I said, all my family's here. My dad's still there, my mom, and yeah,
When your
so
dad
pretty much.
still when your dad first came here to United States, you're saying he knew nobody, like, because like, sometimes,
He
especially
knew,
Mexicans, right? Mexicans been here for a while,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah,
Mexicans have family members in Mexico and, and
hmm,
the United States, so I was
yeah,
wondering if you had family members in Mexico.
yes, I do. That's yeah, good question because I did. I had my uncle Martin. He went to the university here from Mexico.
Mm.
Him and my aunt. They went to, I believe, Chicago. I don't know what
Oh.
university. I don't know. I don't want to say it's Illinois, but I know they went to a college over here in the
Mhm.
states. My dad had an opportunity to do so as well, but like I said at that time, there was no need for it.
Right.
Like he was doing well. He had his business going on, and so yeah, there was no need. So they went. They learned English. They learned everything. And so that's why when he all that happened, I think he was still in contact with them, and they told him that come to the states, come to Georgia, or like
Oh, so they were located in Georgia, and that's
yeah,
why your
they
dad
were
chose
located in
Georgia.
Georgia. So they went to the college in Chicago and all that, and then they resigned in Georgia.
Gotcha. Yeah, because
And
like, Mexico is closer to, like, California or Arizona, or, like,
yeah, you would
Texas.
think, yeah,
Not
Arizona, but they
Yeah,
were in, like I said, for college, for I guess for that. If not, it would
yeah,
have been LA, which is interesting, right? Because then if my uncles were studying in LA, then I probably would have, resided in LA, and we would have never met. And
yeah, be a
there's
cholo.
little things like that, little things like that. And yeah, and then my uncle got a job for IBM,
Oh.
so he's I don't know if he's still working for them, but yeah, they were like in the tech industry. My dad, like I said, he got him here, and then I remember my dad telling me that his first spot that he ever got taken to here in the states was Waffle House.
Ah, nice, a
So
staple.
he got, yeah, that staple back then was a lot better. I mean, it's still good now, but back then I guess it was like more of a like good quality ingredients still,
I
And
I
so
mean,
he would,
everything was back in the day.
yeah, yeah,
McDonald's, Burger King, everybody's good
everything.
quality.
So he got like his T-bone steak, which was an actual T-bone steak back in the day. Not
Wow.
like that little small thin thing you get now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he resigned here because of my uncles, and then my mom followed suit 4 or 5 years after. She just couldn't do it by herself anymore. He would send money, but it was just different because they were always together since high school. They're high school sweethearts, so they like it was just like a for the first time ever being separated, and that far out. So it was just like after a while, it's like no, like
Difficult, yeah.
during the summer, like when we weren't in school, we moved over there, and yeah, man, the rest is
Did
history.
did all your siblings come at one time, or was it just like,
No, everybody,
um,
yeah, all at
everybody?
once.
Okay. Then I'm assuming that it was easier to get a visa back in the day to
It
come
was.
here.
It was because it was just like I said, like, it was no really need for anybody to be coming to
Mm.
the States, or at least in Mexico. At least in
Well,
Mexico, the
in Peru
economy
too.
wasn't.
In
Huh?
Peru too, in Peru too,
Yeah,
honestly, they were handing out 10 years visas.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what we got. I think we got like a 5 or 10-year visa,
yeah.
but, like I said, like, when my dad moved, I think it was a little bit more difficult because since the economy had dropped, a lot of people maybe were moving to the US,
Mm,
but like I said, 4 or 5 years after, when my mom did it with us, it was a lot easier, so it was, like, nothing too crazy of a process, so
eh
we just got the stamp of approval, and then yeah.
mm. And where were you moving? What part of Mexico were you living at when
Oh,
you
yeah,
were
was born, and I was we were there still in San Luis Potosí, which is, I wanna say, northwest from the center of Mexico. So if you're
Mexico
looking
City?
at the Mexico City, yeah.
Huh,
If you're looking at Mexico City, it'll be, like, in the northwestern part, like, closer to Texas, you can say. Not super close, but heading that way.
okay.
Um,
And forgive me because I don't have my geography brain and mind, but, Mexico City, exactly where is that located? Is, in dab in the middle of Mexico, or is it a little more northern?
no, it's more northern.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, more southern.
Southern, okay.
Surprisingly, yeah, so it's just like Texas, and then it'll go down, and it's almost, if you know the shape of the Mexico, the country, it's
Yeah,
kind of like LU shape,
yeah.
curved, and it'll be, like, sort of in the center at the bottom where it sort of curves, and
Mhm,
it's down there, and
mm,
it's there, and that's Mexico City,
okay.
and so it's, like, about, and I'm assuming flying, like, 4 hours from Texas, but yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm from, San Luis. My dad was from Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico, which is closer to the Texas border. And then, yeah, like I said, but like all of my siblings are also from San Luis. That's where
Okay.
we all grew up and stuff.
Very cool. Okay, so do you have plans going back there or just visiting it?
Dude, I want to.
You
I
want to?
want to. Like, yeah, because like I believe they have.
You
I
still have
believe
family there,
they
like your
have.
grandma and
I have,
grandpa?
yeah. My mom's side of the family is in Texas, but I do have some aunts and uncles that are still there in Mexico,
Mm,
like from my dad's side.
okay.
But I do have some family in Texas and in Michigan and in Georgia. I definitely would love to visit because, like I said, I have not been back since I left. So
Mm,
like it would definitely be like a bittersweet moment, you can say, like, to like see everything where I came from.
you
It's funny because, like, as a
yeah,
kid, you still kind of remember. You have like flashbacks of like sort of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it looks like a tunnel vision or like POV type of like thing when I think about it, when I think of like Mexico. So I do
mhm.
remember like certain things, but other than that, like, nothing crazy.
That happens to me when I look at old pictures,
Mm.
and
Or
I
like a
remember
certain smell.
oh,
Like
smell, yeah, smell
if I
definitely.
smell something and it's just like it's for whatever reason, like I remember, or
Yeah.
like where I used to be, and I was like, oh shoot, so it's cool.
Yeah, if I smell piss in the road, I'm like, "Oh, it's Peru." The city of Peru.
Yes, bro. Nah, bro. I think every city, right? Every city
Yeah,
has like
for
their like freaking bro. You know what? New York, bro. New York.
oh, yeah, we went there, right?
I didn't know how bad it was. Like, where in the sense of like the garbage and all that, they leave it on the side of the roads. Like, it's bad. But anyways, that's where I'm from. That's where I came from. My kind of story, like, simplified, sort of. And like I said, I appreciate my parents bringing me here. It's giving me a lot of opportunities that I probably couldn't have done.
And I do wanna get back to you more on, more of your life story. I have questions, but I guess introduce where I'm coming from too
Yes.
at that point.
Go ahead.
I was born in Lima, Peru. I was there until I was, 4 or 5, and we came to the United States, first to Miami. But the reason we came was because my dad was, at the time, working at the U.S. Embassy, and he was getting paid in dollars rather than soles.
Oh, that's
So, yeah,
good.
it was a very good job for someone that was uneducated, because he didn't go to college.
Okay. Okay.
And here's a little backstory of my dad, and I have mad respect for him. His real dad died when he was, less than 1 years old due to car crash. So his
I didn't
mom
know that.
remar yeah, so his mom remarried, and his stepdad always really used to beat my dad because I guess they didn't get along or whatnot or whatever. And also my dad was
Mm,
more rebelling too, growing up, because without a real
yeah.
dad. So that's what I'm thinking. He never told me, but I'm thinking he was a little brat. And his stepdad just beat him, and it got so
Yeah.
bad that his mom sent my dad to live with his sister in the city in Lima, when he was, 10 or 11 because it was just bad,
Wow.
bad the chemistry was bad, yeah, he
It
kept
got
getting
to that
hit.
point where it was just not doable.
It wasn't safe for him either too, so, yeah,
Okay.
so he lived with his older sister, I think sister was, 10 years older than him, So it's a big age gap.
Also, you have so your dad has like siblings.
My dad has half sisters and half brother. He doesn't have anybody
Mm,
full blooded, like
okay.
sibling wise, but he still calls them sister or brother.
Right, of course, of
Yeah.
course.
So yeah, so my dad, came from the country, went to the city, grew up in the city a little bit, and he was doing various number of jobs, and eventually he landed a job working at the U.S. Embassy, and that was purely by luck. I could go a whole story about that too, but I'll keep it short for right now.
That's cool though.
Because he was working in the U.S. Embassy, right, and getting paid in dollars, there was something happening within like early '90s or late '80s in Peru, where it's kind of like not civil war. People were just upset about the economy and stuff like that, and they started blaming the government. So any government official would get like riots occurred in the cities, kind of stuff like that,
Yeah, like protests.
protests and all that stuff. Yeah, and we didn't really care about it too much until my dad went home one day and they had written graffiti on our house,
Oh,
kind of like like we know where like who you are, what you work for, whatever, go away kind of thing, right?
but why your dad? Just
Because you
because
work
he worked for the government?
for the U.S. Embassy, yeah. So it's kind of anti-government kind of thing, like
Yeah, just like
uh,
everybody gets it. Like
exactly,
just because you work there, you're part of it then.
exactly, exactly. I know, but that's my time. We also
Right.
didn't live in like the best area. There was a lot of I wouldn't say gangs. I guess there were probably gangs, there, but it wasn't like the most rich area, right?
Right,
Like,
right. It was very like urban.
it's okay. So, because I remember the place I used to live, Casablanca. Some of my family still live there. It's you ever seen those videos where people like have houses on top of like so-called hills, like dirt hills, and they build on
Yeah,
top of it?
yeah.
That's the type of place that we were living in.
Oh, damn, dude.
So yeah, so get a little perspective there.
That's crazy.
So the reason for the move was because during that time also the economy's all went to crap is because there was a bank that was offering high interest rates for people that put their money in the bank, right? Versus the National Bank of Peru.
Okay.
So a lot of people went to this bank. Let's call it Goliath Bank, right? Because that's all I can think of right now. That's
Yeah.
not the name, but
No,
just
no,
an
right, right.
example. And so everybody started putting their money in, and eventually, I guess what happened with you with the economy drop affected it in Peru as well. The
Yeah, it's
bank
like a ripple effect, yeah.
the bank basically went out of business kind of in a way. They didn't have enough liquidity to pay everybody off. So what that means is like once people found out that the bank couldn't it wasn't like a real bank or couldn't really pay off the money that they owe people, everybody is lined up trying to withdraw the cash, all that stuff,
That's
and
crazy, dude.
eventually, like, the bank just said, "No, I'm sorry, we just closed down, didn't even open it," and just left a lot of people savings, like, for 10,000, 20,000, just gone. And my dad had been saving up and putting money in that bank to open a bus, like a combi business,
Mhm.
like, with the
Yeah.
buses, people taking them, driving, all that stuff, and then having that bus working 24 hours and all that stuff. So he had around, like, 10 grand, 15 grand US dollar. It's not even sold it, so it was really a lot of chunk of money, right? And it wasn't his fault because he wasn't aware, right? He just did what everybody was doing,
Right, of course.
right? And when you assume everybody's doing, it's like, oh, it's safe, right? But back in the day, there was no internet,
No.
so
It's just whatever, it's like word of mouth, like what
exactly,
you heard, and that's it.
exactly. Well, like, it's gonna be like, oh, why are you putting your money in the Bank of Peru and not Goliath Bank if Peru only gives you 3% interest in return, whether this bank gives you 10% in return? It's a no brainer, right, for people,
Yeah.
but
People that don't know better, I guess, like, it's like and now I feel like it's too good to be true, and, like, you kind of, like, hesitate now, but, yeah,
yep.
back then, and especially on, like, Latin countries, they're so trustworthy, like, the people, like, they're just like, "Oh, yeah, sure," like, they seem no harm in it, and it's just that sucks.
And you can't even look it up, like, you don't even have a Google. You're like, "Hey, is
No,
this a scam?"
dude,
Whatever, blah,
no.
blah, so, like, it's really hard, due diligence, and
Jesus.
so, yeah, so that whole thing happened, right? And then, he was gonna have to start all over, and the whole graffiti thing on the house happened, and he's like, "You know what? It's done, let's move to America." And, he had the proper proof because it was a news article, proving like, "Hey, this is affecting us too, working for the US Embassy," so we actually went to US getting amnesty.
Okay,
Um
yeah.
First, my dad though. So we left. My dad went to Miami, stayed there for I think a year or two. No, probably like a year, and then again, we brought my mom and I over there to live in Miami with him. And my family like never left Peru. We've been in Peru the whole life. Like I don't know, no uncles, no grandfathers, no tios, none of that. So what my dad did was, like, he knew one of his embassy friends that were living over there,
Okay.
and so he slept on his couch for a while, and he brought us over there
Crazy.
too, and it's a little weird about our trip because we had, like, a little plane ticket, whatever, and there was some issue with the visas and, like, all that stuff, so we were I was me and my mom were technically legal, like, for, like, a month, and so
Really?
yeah, so there was just a little like my dad forgot to sign something or check something off, so it was really weird. So we really couldn't travel because we initially went to I think Tennessee or some Midwest state
Okay.
and live with this lady. I don't know who the lady is, family friend or not, but she was so mean to me, bro. Like I still get traumatized a little bit because like she forced me to eat mac and cheese and I just hated mac and cheese and that's why I don't like mac and cheese.
Bro, that's okay, that's something I never knew of you, bro.
Yeah.
That's interesting. For everybody that doesn't know yet, Ron hates mac and cheese for and I was like, "Why? It's the best thing in the world." But okay, now I understand. Someone, like, forced you to eat it, so it's just, like,
Yeah.
not enjoyable at all.
It's just she was very mean to me, bro, and I remember me and my mom sleeping on the floor, like, I still remember those type of things, and it something get a little emotional, and that's why I like bringing it up because, like, it just affected me really a lot because as a kid, I was, like, 5 years old, I didn't know
Yeah,
English
bro.
either, and
Yeah.
my mom was telling me that I ran away a couple times too, and they had to find me and stuff like that. Yeah, like, it
You
was
ran away
yeah, bro, I don't know,
at
bro.
5 years old?
Yeah, bro, I was like, I need to get out of here because the lady just her and her family just I just felt like we were, like, a nuisance and just, like,
Like a
treating us bad.
bother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so eventually we reached my dad after the month or so, and then I got to live there. We still slept on the couch of his friends, me and mom,
Mhm.
and the floor too. My dad just worked his way up, he worked at Publix, so did my mom, kind of jobs, and he eventually went to get certified to be a baker. So he went in like baking school or something like that, or I forgot what it's called.
Wow.
And he got a certificate, everything, so he became an official baker in Publix or wherever stores that, offered him,
Right.
jobs, and yeah, and so we stayed there in Miami for, like, 2 years. I went to kindergarten there, not knowing English either, so they put me in the ESOL, but thankfully, because we live in Miami, we actually grew up in the pit bulls, what do you always say? 309?
305.
305, yeah. So that's actually where I lived, Dane County. We actually
Calle 8?
no, we lived in Dade County.
Mm.
Dane County, and that's where actually my, younger sister was born in too. So there's a lot of Latinos, bro, a lot of Cubans, there's Venezuelans, there was, like,
How
everything.
was it living over there in that era, though?
It was awesome, bro, to be honest, because like, I lived in the apartment too, like, a little small apartment, and
Yeah.
so there's always kids, there was a pool there, I have pictures there, we
Were
always
you close to
play.
the beach?
No, 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 I wasn't close to the well, maybe I was, no, 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 maybe I wasn't, I don't know.
No,
Uh,
no, I got you, yeah.
we probably couldn't afford it because we only had, like, one we had, like, a beater car,
Yeah.
like a really old school car, and my parents were always working, and
Yeah.
I never had time to enjoy, like, the beach or stuff like
Right.
that or
Right.
trip.
Right.
We also didn't have the income for it. And so, yeah, so, I lived there in Miami, grew up with the kids, and not really English wasn't an issue like that, I guess because I can speak Spanish and they understood it.
Right.
These are much older kids too. They're, like, probably, like, 2 or 3 years, 4 years older than me in the neighborhood. And so I remember my uncle Marty taking me to school on his bicycle. I have a little memory there, yeah.
That's cool.
And yeah, man, I really enjoyed it, and I really don't know I guess I do know why we moved from Florida to Miami I mean, Florida to Georgia. It's 'cause, eventually my parents they used to party, like, almost every weekend in my memory as a child. They party
Mhm.
every weekend, so there was always drinking, they were smoking, like, the whole apartments was invited too. So they kinda like a block party in a way.
Okay.
And it eventually got to a point where my parents talked to each other and they were like, "We need to get out of this bubble." Because
Okay.
we see, like, our friends, they're still in the bubble, they're still doing the same thing, nothing's changing, and they're still at the same placement of where they are in society. And my parents are always, like, wanting to improve their lifestyle, that's what they came here for in the United States.
Of course.
So, they
So
realized that
there's like a realization. Well, but at least they realized it, you
yeah.
know?
Well, this happened when, like, because I always wanted a sibling because I was lone, bro, I had no cousins, nothing, I was
Yeah,
also the firstborn of the family.
how old are you well, I guess you'll tell me
I
whenever your
I was
siblings were
5,
born.
I was 5.
Jesus.
So and I was always wishing, my parents for siblings because I see my other kids have siblings, somebody to talk to,
Yeah.
and so I just felt kinda lonely too. I would wish for them, and then when my sister Madeline was born a year later, I was really happy and everything, but then I think that's when my parents realized, like, hey, they want a better for us, because originally like my parents just wanted one kid, but then Mally happened.
Like on a little side note, I think like as I get older, I realize that if you're gonna have kids, just me personally, like at least have two.
Yeah,
Because I feel like it does help with their mental, like as a child. Because yeah, like if especially if you're maybe if you're bullied or anything, you have nobody to like really hang
vented.
out with or like yeah, vent or talk to. It's like having a
Yeah.
sibling. It's everything because it's like it's. I know it's helped me, but I know it's different for you because you're the oldest one.
Yeah, I still don't I just still didn't have that, bro. Like, honestly, like,
Right.
my youngest
Right.
sibling next my sister, right? I'm 6 years apart from her,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
after that, it's like 10 years, and after that, it's 14 years. So it's a big jump in age gap.
Yeah.
I n only now do I feel like I have siblings just because they're more older now,
Of course. Of course.
and I can relate, I can play games with them and talk to them, but growing up, like, bro, it was just lonely, man. And anyway, so going back to the move, so when we moved to Georgia, and I don't know why I chose Georgia because they knew nobody in Georgia.
Yeah, I know, right? When you
So
think about like as I think about it too, like you were telling me, why not LA or why not,
yeah.
somewhere like there? But it's just like, yeah, I don't know either. Why Georgia? Just more because mine because was family was there, but you didn't have any family in Georgia.
They just heard it was a good place. So, that's
Mm,
all I did, heard, so,
interesting.
yeah, so we decided to move to Georgia. I moved there in the 2nd grade, Sandy Springs. That's where I met, remember we had mutual friend Javier?
Sandy Springs. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, yeah,
Javier is from
yeah.
Chile.
Yeah, Chile. So, I met him in 2nd grade because we lived in the same apartment complex.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and yeah, and I honestly, I hated that elementary school. It was so bad
And
because I
Sandy
couldn't
Springs.
Sandy Springs, yeah, it was muy frío, man, and it was rough because like, I still couldn't speak English, right? And so one day in the, when recess, everybody was like playing on the monkey bars, and I saw the kids, trying to jump and grab the bars,
Yeah,
whatever.
of course.
Everybody's doing that. So cool. So I did it. I missed and landed on my arm, and I broke my arm or sprained or something like that. I couldn't move it
Oh,
anymore. I was in pain the whole day, and I couldn't
oh.
tell my teacher like my arm
No,
hurt.
you didn't, bro. You couldn't even run to her and just point. No,
I couldn't, bro.
you just.
Like,
Are
so
you
so I was
serious?
like this during class, like, not even moving and everything. I couldn't say it
And
with so
didn't
much pain.
realize it?
They didn't realize it because I was like this, bro.
Like,
No,
if I see a kid like this,
no,
and
but
they're like,
I'm in the desk, right? So I'm just like this.
"Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay."
Because like also you gotta understand, like, I'm a very shy person too. I don't want to cause a scene. I'm not
Yeah,
very like
that
out.
is true. You're
You
very,
know,
very, like, to yourself.
I get embarrassed too a lot.
Okay.
So I didn't want to cause a scene. So I told my mom about it, and she was like, "Oh no!" So she put like a little fake slingshot here because we didn't have money to go to a doctor.
Yeah, of course.
So, and then just like I think I sprained it because it really didn't need a cast or anything. It
I
hurt.
wonder if but you said you might have fractured it.
I think maybe, I don't know. I know it hurt. Like when I moved it, it hurt.
I think you might have fractured it. Broken, I don't think you would have been able to
No,
withstand the pain.
yeah.
You probably would have passed out from the pain, honestly.
I think I just sprained it, to be honest, like really, really
Oh, yeah,
bad. So,
maybe.
but
Jesus, dude.
yeah, things gotten better though when I moved to 3rd grade in Roswell. Yeah, I did enjoy that. Oh, it was okay. I know why. Sorry, I'm thinking back now. What's
No, yeah,
happening?
go ahead.
No, because of Javier, right?
Yep.
He introduced us to the church, LDS.
Okay.
That's how we got the missionaries coming in, and
That's
so
crazy.
it's weird to see because you know my dad. It's weird to see that he used to drink a lot.
Bro, whenever you tell me that, I could never in a million years, bro, because he's such a humble dude, bro. Like he's just so down to earth and grounded.
Hmm,
But as I get older, the people that are like that is because they've experienced so much pain or so much whatever, like just resilience in
mhm,
life that's why they're so grounded because they understand that other life. So props to your dad because I love your dad. Like I see every time I see him is always like a very like heartfelt like conversation or like real genuine. I'm for real genuine person. It's like I always and your mom too. Your mom's just very straightforward. Shout out to his mom.
yeah.
She'll tell me if I gain weight. So just I love it. But yeah, your dad's definitely like, props to him for being able to, get his life turned around.
Yeah, man, and they love you too, Corey always tell me, "How's Lehi?" "Oh, I talked to my dad yesterday about you," and he's like,
Mm,
"Oh, tell Lehi I say hi." So I forgot to tell you. Uh,
nice.
um, anyway, so this is actually one of the things I don't drink, bro, and this is why, like, because
Yeah.
you and I, after growing up, we strayed out a little bit from the church, but like me personally, like I don't drink because I guess I've been traumatized a lot. My dad, when
Oh,
he
yeah.
was in Miami, he used to drink a lot, like I told you, house party, everything like that, and I was just a little kid watching it. So I went to my dad one day, during that party, and he wasn't himself. He's always
Right.
smiling, laughing, but I knew it just wasn't my dad
Mhm.
because he just drink, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all, and to me, it's like, "Who the frick is this person?" You know? That I guess this kind of dissuade me from drinking because I always wanna be myself. I never wanna be somebody I'm not, it just
It
and I
was,
know
like, scary. It was
yeah,
scary to see.
it's a little scary for me, yeah, so, like, it's kinda like, yeah, I coulda drank a little bit, but, like,
Yeah,
I still didn't want to, like, I just I don't know. That's why I never drank in my life.
of course.
Yeah, so this is why I don't drink, and, just going back to, like, the Roswell thing and grow up in a Roswell, um, I've learned because also, growing up as a child in Miami, I saw a lot of Latinos taking advantage of other Latinos and seeing how my parents, like, one time kinda get scammed by other Latinos and lose their money, and it
I don't
just
know why we, like I said, we hurt each other, like, the people, like, our own, like, why? Why?
yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know, bro. It's crazy, and it's like it's one of those things where I guess that's why I like to help people or help people that need help. What I realized was that the key to success was to be able to speak English. I actually learned how to read it in Miami too. This church lady taught me because I had difficult reading, and
From church?
no, no, it was a different church. I think it was probably
Oh, okay,
Catholic
okay,
or a
okay.
Christian church. Yeah,
Okay.
we knew nothing about the
Yeah,
Mormon culture, LDS culture,
okay.
in Miami, but anyway, so yeah, so like I told you about learning English was really a priority. So I, made it, I guess, not a mission, but like my goal to learn English. And when I moved to Roswell, because of it's also twisting my arm, couldn't say anything in middle school. I mean, in second grade.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is why I trying to learn English, just because I didn't think Spanish served me a lot, and it's kind of true in a way because like also I couldn't connect with the Spanish kids because they were that like Mexicans. I'm not. This is no hate to Mexicans at all, but like when you're
Nah,
younger,
bro,
just like
say your piece, bro.
if you're not Mexican, you're not part of that culture. They kind of like ostracize, just push you away. You're like, oh, you're not one of us. Like you whatever, you can't hang
Yep,
out with us, whatever.
yep.
And I'm like, why? Like, but that's how it is, especially how the way I grew up.
Yeah, I don't know, I think my wife had, like, issues with that as well.
Yeah,
It was like you had to be a certain way in order to, like, be Mexican or whatever that, like, I didn't understand in high school, I had so much issues with that.
yeah,
Like, so, yeah, no, and I don't know why. It's like, what's the difference? It's like we're when as we get older, we're still judged by our color in the sense of, like, certain ways, right?
true,
Nothing
true.
crazy, but
No,
it's like no matter how well we can speak the language, like, doesn't matter. Like
no.
we're still like considered Hispanics no matter how well. So it's just like I never got why like we would get differentiated just because I guess just we grew up less, I guess, culture, like in the sense of like Hispanic, like Mexican. Like I'm not fully Mexican, like in the sense of like I don't listen to Mexican music like that. So like I couldn't relate to all these other kids in high school that listen to it like that. I just never grew up like that. So
Mhm.
they would differentiate me or separate me or not want to hang out with me during lunch or anything. So I just had to like hang around with different other people just because I never fit in with my own Mexican
Really?
people.
That's interesting
So it's
because
just annoying. Yeah.
I feel because like you're so I guess you're lovable, right? You're very approachable too. I think you get along with everybody.
No, no, I got in high school, I got along more with the Puerto Ricans. Shout out to Puerto Ricans. Shout out to my Puerto Ricans. I would always hang out with the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans. I don't know why we got along more. And then in high school, they'd be like, the Mexicans will see that. So like, why don't you go hang out with your Puerto Rican friends? And I just
Really?
got more like, yeah, they would
Damn.
get offended. And I'm just like, yeah, I have to because I don't fit in with y'all. Like I just don't understand the style. Like they would dress with their Hollister shirts with their spiked up hair. When it
The
was
gelled
back
up
then, like
hair,
it was yeah, yeah,
gelled up
gelled up,
hair,
like
yeah.
hella gelled up hair. Like it looked like
Yeah.
spiders, like in the top, and it was just like I just didn't. Mine was more of a buzz cut, daddy Yankee fade. I just got into because, and you know why? It's because my older siblings, my older
Mm,
brothers, Pancho, my older brother, he
yeah.
was into the reggaeton that was very popular when I was in middle school. So that's
Mm.
why I used to rock the big jerseys with the hat that matched when the Air Force Ones
Wow.
with the laces colored different with the.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was a whole different, and they were more of like the Mexicans were like more of like the Hollister, the American Eagle with the
Oh, the preppy
pants
thing.
and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a whole different status. So I understand, but just I apologize for my people.
No, 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 no. It's all good, bro. Like I made peace with it. I guess that's why I always when I first started dating, I kind of try to be or try to force myself to like Latinas, even though they weren't the right fit for me.
Right. No, yeah, that's true. That's fair. That's very fair.
So I mean, like, it's also like these up growing up, you have these issues right internally or subconsciously that you don't understand, and you're trying to overcome them. But
Yeah, because you're just like so confused as to why. Like, and it make you feel like you're the problem.
exactly, like or
And it's just like, nah.
a social identity crisis too, in a way,
Yes.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's the word for it. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and for me, especially because like, there's not a lot of Peruvians. Even now, like I still don't know a lot of Peruvians.
No, yeah. Were they more in Miami?
There was a little handful more. It's Miami though. Miami's Latin people in general.
That's like a
Now,
melting pot. Yeah. Yeah.
during that time though, I don't know about now. Probably more Cubans now than ever.
Well, Venezuelans and Cubans for sure,
Okay.
Colombians.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, all these things talking about my childhood, just kind of like, oh yeah, this is why I am the way I am now.
Yeah. No, as we like I said, as we get older, we kind of like put connect the dots, I guess you could say. As to
Yeah,
like why we're the way we are, like the experiences we've had, even if it's trauma or whatnot, it's just like whatever we went through,
Child,
whatever we're on. Yeah, it is, bro. It's
someone's child,
like
bro.
I feel like, but that's what makes us who we are, and I appreciate our generation because we're not like too soft spoken.
Mm,
It's like we kind of more like tell it how it is, and it's just like kind of like it was maybe bad to grow up that way, sort of like just like toughen up, stop crying, and just keep going. But at the same time, that's it made us resilient. You
mhm.
could say if like no excuses in the sense of like it could be worse. You know what I'm saying? It's just like so. It's just, but it's like pros and cons to it. But
Yeah,
I'm appreciative for it. And not now in the long run. Like I was able to kind of deal with it in my own way, and this podcast helps too. Talk about it and let it out because sometimes we just kind of like hold it in, and then we
mhm,
don't talk about it. And then whenever we do, it feels nice because it's kind of like, oh, no, I get to understand more as I'm speaking about it,
right.
why I'm the way I am.
It's kind of like these obstacles that we're facing just help us make a better person because we beat those obstacles. We jumped over the hurdles,
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So
But
go
sorry, go ahead. No, yeah.
no, no,
About
no.
you, about how you came to the States, brother.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I'm still stuck in 3rd grade. I can go on forever, whatever, but,
That's
like,
good. No, that's good. That's
you
the
know,
main thing.
because the Mexicans really didn't want me, I kinda veered the other way in terms of more, like, Americanized, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't
I
know if
think
you
a lot
saw
of us did.
I don't know if you saw pictures of me, like, I grew up so you grew up with the reggaeton, right? I grew up
Yes.
with the rock.
That is true. You grew up like I'm talking about like I guess what is it, emo?
It's not emo, you know, you
Emo.
call it emo, it's not emo, bro, it's just, like, punk rock,
Uh,
and I
do
enjoy
you have the time? I don't even know the song. I just know the melody. It's catchy. It is catchy.
I went that route, and even growing up in high school, whatever, I still felt like, where the frick did I belong? Because I knew I didn't belong with white people. Because like middle school was okay, but high school is where
Yeah.
like you
No, high
honestly
school was
separate like just cliques and
bro,
everything like that.
high school was just a whole different animal, dude. Like, if you didn't fit anywhere, bro, you were like you realized you were lonely,
Yeah,
bro. Like,
yeah.
it wasn't like, no. Like, if you fit in, you fit in. If not, bro, you're sitting by the cafeteria by yourself, dude.
Bro, I'm going to the
That's what it
library, bro. I
was.
don't know
Oh,
cafeteria.
you went to the library? Oh,
Yeah, bro.
damn.
I don't know anybody cafeteria. That's horrible.
I don't think my high school allowed us to move anywhere besides the cafeteria.
Oh, that's
Like,
hard, bro.
I think our last year, senior year,
Oh,
they allowed us to do 1 hour lunch and then go out
oh,
and go to anywhere we wanted to, but we had to come back. That was like a cool response, a cool option to have. But I don't know if like if it was abused and they stopped doing it. But for the most of the years, it was just cafeteria. You cannot
mm,
move from there. But like I said, in my high school, we didn't have that option. It was just cafeteria, nowhere else. Because I guess my high school was a mixture of a lot of like black, Hispanic, and white. So you definitely had your differences. Like you had to be with your group. It was weird to see somebody not with their group and now you were just kind of like an outcast. But that was cool that you can go to the library for you because,
no,
like I said, I couldn't. Then that's honestly nice because at least you don't have to feel, like you didn't belong. Just sitting there by yourself, that sucks.
I don't think it
That
happened
happened
to
to
you.
me. Yeah,
No,
bro. Okay, so I know people like, oh man, you're so charismatic, you're so funny, you're so outgoing. Yeah, but it was tough, especially having siblings that went to that school before you and they were popular. That was my thing, bro. I was like the ugly duckling, bro. It was like
no quiero decir nada, pero
El
los dos
Papo fail, bro. Like it was just like like hope like as I grew up, thankfully, like I'm like I dress better. I'm trying to look better. But when I was growing up, no, bro. I was like I look rough. When I look at pictures back then, I was like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. But my older brothers, they were genetically more gifted by the looks that they had. And it was true because why? Because they were able to be more friendly with everybody. They were more approachable for whatever reason. And when I went to school, all the kids that had older siblings are like, "Oh yeah, my brother or my sister knows your brother," but that's it. But they wouldn't talk to me. They just told me that they knew, but like they want nothing to do with it. But like and that's how I knew the difference was like. But as I got older, like I started coming out more with my shell, like out of my shell, and then like being more talkative, being more
Mm,
friendly. But just I don't know. I guess I was just weird. I guess I just didn't fit in. Like I said, like in any category. Even though I was goofy and friendly, and like in classes, people will laugh when I was being goofy and dorky. But hanging out, nah, they wouldn't hang out with me outside of school. It was just people from church, like Chris. Like I know you know Chris.
mhm.
Like he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
cool. Those are the people that I would hang out with, like church kids after school. And like go to seminary in the mornings,
Yeah, oh, that's a
and
bitch,
then
dude, bro.
that was annoying. Yeah, seminary, and then afterwards just go to school, and then after that just go home. I really didn't have like any friends outside of school. Like after that, it was just that's how it was. Outside of school now, like people are like, oh yeah, I remember you went to high school with you, and then like there's like trying to do the high school reunions, but which I didn't go to mine, or mine is still trying to be made because of the COVID, so it couldn't be done. So I think they're trying to do it now, but I don't think I'll
Mm.
go.
My high school reunion happened, and a
Did
couple
you
of
go?
friends. No, I didn't go because a couple of friends of mine, like, we reached on Instagram. It's like, "Yo, let's just us meet up together." We went to, Taco Mac.
Oh, you did tell me, and then y'all just caught up and everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah. How
cool.
was that?
It was pretty cool, man. Most of them are pretty good, doing really well, thankfully, having good lives and whatever. It's just
Nice, nice.
some of them surprised me in terms, and we'll also talk about other people too, like, "Hey, I heard so and so is doing this and doing
Oh,
that
the cheese
now."
mess, bro. That's what we're
Yeah,
good
the
at, cheese
cheese,
mess.
bro. It's like, "Oh, did you know so and so became a lesbian or gay?" I'm like, "What?" Or like, "Did you know
Oh,
this girl that was real, like, goody good two shoes became, like, so opposite end, is all tatted up with, like, all this
bro.
stuff."
I've seen a lot of high school people that were, like, popular, or I guess you would consider popular, that seemed like they had the perfect everything. I think had the most, like, messed up, I guess, like, growing up, and they've changed completely now. Like, you wouldn't recognize them, you know what I'm saying? So it is interesting when you bring that up. It's like the people that were, like, goody two shoes are now, like, crazy or, like, just the opposite of what they were before.
Yeah. Or somebody that
It's
you
crazy.
thought that was really smart in high school, like, "Oh, you're gonna make it big, bro. You're gonna be, like, successful as hell."
Bro,
I'm like, "Oh, you're a fucking manager? Oh, that's crazy."
I I feel like it's traumatizing for them because in the school yearbooks, remember how we had like the people that would like be predicted like be most successful
Yeah.
or most like style or whatever, like predicting like the future. And it's like it sucks that like some of them didn't get to do that because I don't know, whatever, like they just built a bad habit or the lifestyle, or some people I guess sometimes we're still trying to live as like high school people. I guess you can say
Yeah.
like in the movies, you know how like people still try to live their glory days. I guess they're called glory days in high school. And it's not
Mhm.
like that. Like, once you're out of high school, like the reality comes in college. Work is just that it's not the same.
It's also hard meeting new people too.
It is. It is. That's
Eh,
when you're the communicating, being able to talk to people. Can you be relatable? Can you like fit in and like can you just talk to anybody in the room?
especially me, because 'cause I'm more of an introvert, you know this my whole life, right?
Yeah. Yes. You were. I
So
mean, you've come out of your bubble a lot more than what you probably give yourself credit. Because I remember meeting you at church, and we didn't like each other at the beginning. I
I thought
think.
you're too cocky.
Yeah, I had a feeling, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can I can come off like that, but, yeah, I remember you were very to yourself, and I was just like, "Dude, this dude's weird." But no, yeah, for sure, you've come out of your bubble a lot, and honestly, you need to, right? Because like, as you get older, you're gonna have to in order you want, like, to, like, move up the ladder or succeed or whatever career you're going to, you know?
Oh, bro, we could talk about that because I had to fake it a lot, and not in terms of faking it, like, I didn't know my skills, in terms of, like, I had to be able to fake a smile or, laugh at
Yep,
a joke,
yep.
especially in the
Corporate,
corporate
baby,
world, right?
corporate.
Corporate, yeah. We can talk about that some other time too, because we can go
Yeah,
on and on about that this kinda
yeah.
stuff, but it's just interesting to see, though, that you in high school, like, sat by yourself in a cafeteria, because I can't picture that. I always picture you, like, making everybody laugh, and I guess you do have a point where, like, yeah, you making them laugh in the classroom, but other than that, it really wasn't anything
Nothing
deeper
else I
than
could
that.
relate to them, yeah.
Yeah,
They were
deeper than
just laughing because of the situation that I occurred that happened in class, right? Because it was funny, but it wasn't for them to be like, "Oh, dude, let's hang out," because, back then, just high school kids were brutal. It was just like
that.
there's nothing else, like, if especially if you weren't, like, considered good looking or you had a style. I didn't have a style back then, bro, like I said, like, I can show
I
you
hear.
pictures, and it was just bad because, like but to me, I thought I was dressing comfortably, whatever I wanted to wear when I wanted to wear it, and it was just like you grow up and you like as you get older, you notice that it doesn't matter, right?
Yep.
Those things don't matter. Those things start fading away. But if it had to happen to me in high school, it is what it is. Like I'm grateful that it happened, sort of, because it kind of like showed me how to be able to communicate and who to really tell was my friend or not, like real from fake, I guess you can say.
I mean, I always consider my church friends real friends.
Yeah, I think the church played a big part of like being able to mold me into like what I want to be and what I don't want to be. Like the drinking and the smoking and all of that. At least, like the
Yeah.
it might not be the greatest, like everything was great, right?
Right.
But it gave me certain like standards to like live by that
Like,
helped
be
me
a
in the
good
long
person in general, right?
run. Hmm.
Like, and also, like, being able to experience things, right? Because our parents are always working. So after school activities in terms of, like, Boy Scouts or, like, camping
Yeah,
out,
that was fun. That was
sports, all that
definitely fun.
stuff, and shout out to the members that took time out of their hands and, like, took us camping,
Yeah,
'cause
fishing, camping,
yeah,
everything, because, like, us as, like and it was funny because as us, like, Hispanics, we didn't really ever do that, so whenever we would go, we would be, like, the only Hispanics there,
yeah,
but they would always make us feel and it's sad because it's, like, sometimes Americanos would make us feel more welcome than our own people,
yeah.
and that sucks sometimes too because you still don't fit in, but at least they're trying to help you fit in. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, no, like, and I hate the word when I was growing up too. It's like, "Oh, why are you being white? Why are you
Yeah,
acting white?" I'm like,
yeah,
"What are you talking about, bro? What? Because 'cause I'm
yeah,
speaking correctly or because 'cause I'm
yeah,
hanging out with these people just 'cause, they
yeah.
accept me for who I
Yeah,
am? Like, why?"
it made no but back then, to me, it did get into my head a lot,
Mm.
right? Because, like, I just let people, like, just let me, like, put myself down, but then it was just, like, as I get older, I was like, "Nothing wrong with that." It was just more of, like, just because those people were more educated. That's the only difference now that I realized. They was, like, more educated, and that's why they had different vocabulary. And
Mhm.
that was fine though. Like there was and anything. If anything, it helped me in the long run, right? Because if I was stuck with like not knowing the church or those people that helped me like figure things out, then I would probably still be like to be honest with you, like more the typical like 1% that or like I don't know what the percentage is like that I would have somebody pregnant already. Um,
Oh,
if I didn't get
teenager.
if, hmm and like having like working at a down job that is not going to go anywhere, things like that. If I maybe had not known the church.
So, you have typical jobs as immigrant, right?
Yeah.
Immigrants, like my parents, like I said, they're not high educated. They just worked at Publix,
Right.
cut hair. My mom's a
Yeah.
probably say the word cosmetologist or
Hairstyle.
hairstylist, yeah,
Yeah.
hairdresser.
Mhm.
Whatever. She got her license and everything too. But honestly, like most of the immigrants though, they work hard for their kids. Most of the
Yeah,
time when
for sure.
I don't know if you see this, but like, growing up, so you see the Latinos there, and they're immigrants as well. And you're an immigrant, but you see them making the wrong choices, like not taking education seriously or not going the correct career path or like going the gang life, because gang was really popularized for us growing up.
Bro, in middle school for me, yeah, it was so popular. Like, I was into that style for sure.
People were getting jumped in. It,
Oh, yeah, or I pretended to be jumped in, right? Because we didn't know how, like, big of a it really was, like, people that actually got into it, but, you try to pretend to be in it, I guess, and, you go through that, and that was just when I think about it, like, I'm grateful because then we'll talk about that too, but it's just a close friend of mine, like, got killed because we were, like, involved in the gang stuff. He went to a party, danced with the wrong girl, and guy got offended. They went outside. They were gonna fist fight. Dude pulled out a gun and just shot him just because
uh,
of that. So it was just like so me at what 13, 14 years old going to a funeral and seeing like someone's body like because of that like I got so scared. Now in my head, I like it switched. I was just like, I don't want that.
mm.
I don't want that, and I gotta stop hanging out with these type of people because they weren't bringing anything good and valuable in my life. So it's just like that. What kind of was like a pivot change on my life, even though I was super young and maybe I wasn't, but I was heading towards that. I was dressing like it. I was trying to act like
It
it
left
and
an
all that.
impression and be like, I don't want to be
Bro,
this way. Yeah.
very strong impression, bro. At that young of an age, that can happen. Like it was real. It was real. So unfortunately, I had to see that, but it helped me. It helped me realize that like, no, I don't want that for
Yeah.
me because it sucks because he left a kid as well. I think he
Oh,
was like
dang.
15, 16, and he had just got like a girl, like I think pregnant. It was just like, now that kid's growing up without a parent. It's just a lot. So it was just like, yeah, no, not for me. Not for me.
Honestly, bro, we beat a lot of stereotypes growing up, especially
We
back
did.
then. Yeah.
We did.
And to be honest, like I'm glad, things happened the way they happened because I just can't imagine my life now if like I did some stupid shit when I was younger where like everybody did stupid shit, right? But like,
No, yeah, like that one stupid thing that like fucks up your whole life forever.
yeah, exactly. To be honest, like I sometimes feel bad too as well because I see a lot of growing up. I saw this one kid. He was also illegal, an immigrant, but the kid was so freaking smart, bro. Like I was in pre-Cal and he was already in Cal 1 in high school, whatever, and like we were like in 10th grade or something like that.
Props to y'all. I could never.
Bro, he knew his stuff. Also, I knew him for a little while, so we went to the senior year, right? So, "Yo, so where you going to college?" I asked him. He's like, "Oh, I'm going back to Mexico, bro, because I have no opportunity here."
I think I know who you're talking about.
No, this is a Roswell High School friend of mine.
I never met him.
Never met him. No, you never met him. It's just like one of the friends of a friends kind of thing, and sat in the same table in the library, and I would occasionally visit there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they weren't like true friends with me, but like I knew of them,
Yeah.
they knew of me, kind
Right.
of thing.
Okay.
But yeah,
Damn, and he went back to Mexico?
he went back to Mexico. Yeah, he actually did. Went back to Mexico, and his sister stayed over here. I think I'm not sure.
Did he say why he went back?
A better opportunity. He had no opportunity here. He couldn't apply to college because it's too much money
Yeah, because you're paying, like, out of state
paying out of state pocket. Yeah,
tuition. Yeah,
and this is like before DACA too.
I could never, bro. That's tough.
Well, wasn't the DACA released in 2012?
Yeah, I was about 19 or 20 when DACA came out, and I was able to finally apply for a license, but going in high school, I had always take the bus. I couldn't drive, and it sucked my senior year because everybody was kinda making fun of me because I couldn't drive, and I would have to take the bus.
Yeah,
So it
dude.
sucked. So, yeah. Yeah,
I
it did come out around that time.
I felt for you guys, undocumented because, like, we have a lot of mutual friends, especially in church friends that were undocumented,
Yeah.
and it's
Yep.
kind of like they couldn't do certain things that you think was a norm, right, growing up in, high school, right, college. Even one of our friends, I won't say their names, right, but he wanted to join the military, remember? A church friend, military.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
don't say
Yes.
his name though,
Yes.
but, like,
No, no, of course. I do remember. Yep.
yeah, he wanted to join the military so bad. He was in JRCC, like, that was his thing, right? And he was, like, very goal
Yeah.
oriented,
I do remember that, yep,
and he couldn't get in.
because DACA, I mean, I don't think he could even get in with DACA, right?
I don't even know, to be honest, but this is
Oh,
before
I think
DACA too, though, so this we
yeah,
graduated before that.
and it's like
Um,
and it's dumb because it's like here's like this person that's trying to be a good, like, I guess even though they weren't citizens, quote unquote, but a good Samaritan or a good person that's trying to like do better for the
yeah,
community, and that still wasn't able to get an opportunity just
uh,
because of documentation. It's crazy.
so, I always like playing devil's advocate, right? So the other side of the coin is that, especially now, and I don't wanna get too much into this because we can do another topic for itself, but
Yep.
right now we're having issues with the border and all that stuff, and so many people are coming in.
Yeah.
Some people
Absolutely.
are exhausting,
Yeah.
the budget for each city, and it's kinda hard because we are immigrants, right? So it's kinda like we get that,
We're in the
like,
middle. Yeah.
yeah, we can I get where you're coming from, right? From a perspective of, like, an immigrant, like, you're coming for a better life, blah, blah, do your family and all that stuff, but also
Right. Right.
perspective from American as well is like, "Yo, it's too many people, they need to be more controlled and
Yeah.
regulated,"
Yeah.
it's just all can just come in at the same time, and
Yeah.
don't look for me because I don't know the right answer either because, like, I'm not that smart. I don't know what's right or
No, but
wrong.
I do understand that if that were to happen where it just opens up, it'll become a third world country.
Right.
You can say because it's just too much to handle, and people have to understand that also. It's not just about, racism or anything of that nature, even
Mhm.
though that's what it could look like, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's more than that. It's more like economic wise. They have to
Yeah.
look at it in an economic way that it'll really hurt the money and people's living, the cost of living, everything.
Also, you're not regulating people that, are good people, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
another thing, like, so, like, an example, like Peru. You remember the whole situation with Venezuela, and although Venezuelans just
Oh,
fleeing their
yeah. Oh,
country,
yeah.
going to different land countries, so there's a huge influx going to Peru, and it
I
just
remember that. I remember that. And
all
it was good because it's like you wanna help, right? It's not
mhm,
that, country wants to help. It's just the fact that there's moderations that have to be taken into consideration. Well, that rhymed. Moderation and consideration. It's just like you have to because if not, it will fail. It would fail, and that's what it was happening. And now it looks bad because now in Peru they're like, oh, we don't want them.
yeah,
Oh, you're being racist to your own people. No,
like, are you
it's
being
just that it's too
xenophobic?
much.
Yeah,
Yes, it's too
xenophobic.
much.
No, and I agree. I agree, bro. And, like, all my feed right there was talking about Venezuelans because, like, also they formed a gang and they started robbing Peruvian people, and they didn't
Oh,
get
dude.
accustomed to Peruvian culture. They just wanted to bring their own culture. It was just a whole thing. It's because we play in media, right? We know how media works, right? They always want to put out bad stories about
Yeah,
certain
yeah,
people and get you
the
emotionally
title
riled.
and all
Yeah,
that, yeah,
get you emotionally riled up, so you be on their side, because I know how this played out. And I'm
of
like,
course.
and it got me though, because, like, even though I'm aware of, like, what they're doing, manipulating me, like, I still get emotional. I'm like, "Yo, bro, like, why the hell are you gonna" a couple of Venezuelans break into to a Peruvian's house and rob him, like, you don't even belong in that country, and it got me riled up. I'm like,
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure, absolutely.
and I had to, step away from it and be like, "You know what? This is just bad and healthy for me. I need to not watch this kind of stuff anymore because I know this is not every single Venezuela that comes to Peru. There actually some people
Yeah.
that are good and everything, but
Yeah,
those
of
bad
course.
few, that make it.
Yeah.
Like, did you see that video circling? I think last year about this Venice. I think he's Venezuelan. The Venezuelan guy saying to like, "Oh, come to United States, guys." Blah blah blah.
Oh, yeah, they're giving out you a Visa card with money and
Yeah,
this, and that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
I seen that.
And I don't pay
Yeah,
your
bro.
bills, whatever, some of that, or I don't pay taxes, all that stuff. He was like
Man,
basically
it's
bragging,
crazy.
right? They
Yeah, bro.
eventually caught him, and they
Oh, they
caught
did?
him. Yeah, they caught him, and they took the U.S. government because he went viral. So the U.S. government caught him, and they took away basically deport him. He's like, "Oh, well, but my daughter, I have her here, blah blah blah." Even though, like,
Play the victim.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know.
there's always gonna be
But I
bad.
understand there's like it's not all the Venezuelans, it's not all Mexicans, all whatever, like there's always gonna be bad apples, right?
Yeah,
In every country, it's not perfect, but you have to be held accountable for your actions, bro. And it's just like when you do stuff like that, it's like, what do you expect is gonna happen? You're bragging. It's just so many people want that opportunity, but they don't have that. And like I think California now became what the first state to allow immigrants to have like free healthcare and all this money and stuff. And it's just crazy. Which I understand you want to help, but it's like now you're hurting the people that live here that paying taxes.
if you're paying for them, why not help actual Americans? And like,
Bro, that's the whole controversy right now that FEMA doesn't have enough to support the hurricane of people that got affected by it. It's just like that. I think they got like $750 to help.
what?
Yes, bro, you should look it up. They're,
Damn.
like, giving, like, billions to the Ukraine and Israel and all of that,
That's
and
okay. So like, I don't want to get too much into this stuff, but
yeah,
like,
we are getting sidetracked, but yeah.
I just feel like I don't know. For me, it's personally like, yo, help us first, bro. Like, we need to fix this country first. Like, it's like
Bro, it's
I
a
know I
mess.
sound like a little Trump again, but like,
No,
uh,
no, no, bro. It is what it is.
it's just like like people are suffering right now. Like, and I'm sure like, okay, so I watch a lot of economical econ
Right.
news and all that
Yeah,
stuff and all that stuff, and
yeah.
like they're always saying, oh, we're not in a recession. Oh, the economy's doing fine, going well, blah blah blah. Bro, if you're like below a certain like household income, you feel it. Groceries are so high, gas is getting higher, cost of living is high, like everything's just hard nowadays.
Absolutely. We
Kinda,
got
yeah.
sidetracked from our life here to now, but
Yeah,
it does play it does connect at a certain time, like, it does connect to how we came, how we had to come, the process we had to do,
yeah.
versus now the way the economy is working out, like the United States, where, like, they're trying to, like no, bro, I don't wanna say, like, it's like socialism, but it low-key is.
Socialism, we mean like everybody gets
Yes, like, everybody gets free stuff. Here, get, but then it has a ripple effect afterwards, it looks nice now, and it looks like it's great and all,
mm,
but it's gonna affect the economy and everybody else in the country bad, bro.
mm. I guess we have to see, just wait and see kind of thing. But yeah, I do want to circle back to our lives.
Yes, let's do it.
Got so sidetracked. But yeah, honestly, like growing up and like who we are now as a people, like I like so me you and I took different roads, right? I went to college, got a degree, and you went the working route. I personally do not.
Yeah,
I'm in agreeing with you from the last podcast that I don't feel like college was worth it for me. And student loans, I still have to pay them. It's like $500 off my monthly income, and it's also like I'm not bringing the principal down anytime because of the interest rates. So I
yeah,
could be
it's
paid
like
for like 10 years.
you're going nowhere.
Exactly. It's one of the things that right now is crippling me in terms of like being able to advance, do certain things that I want to do. But anyway, it's besides the point. I mean, it did land me my first job, like after college, because I went to college. It's
Right,
on my resume, and I got
right.
hired in the media company, 21st Century Fox. Right, that's where I got my first job. A big
Great
big good
job,
job. Yeah, it was
great
a
job.
it was
It
a fun
it
job.
it it was a fun environment to be in.
It was a great environment.
You said that me and you went to a different route. I unfortunately was hard headed, even though both of my parents went to college and they strived for me to get an education. I just was too much of a class clown growing up, and I paid the consequences afterwards. But shout out to my parents for it, just always being supportive, and trying to push me to do. So I went, got my GED, and then that's when started working for my dad's company. He has a painting company. I used to have to drive to North Carolina every single day, wake up at 3, 4 in the morning, pick up the guys for work, drive 2 hours and a half, then come back at nighttime, drop them off, and then go to sleep, and then repeat again because I was a hardhead. And then, like I said, Ron gave me the opportunity. Was like, hey, we're hiring. You don't really need like a college degree. They're willing to train you, just like the basics. And after the third or fourth application try. They took me in, and the rest is history. But yeah, like we both went different routes for sure. And all in all, I think like it worked out at the end for both of us, or
Yeah.
at least it is working out. Like we still are not where we want to be, but we're way better where we were before. I will say that. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the True Latinos podcast. Make sure to follow us on all our platforms, social media, and stay tuned for new episodes every Monday. And if you'd like to see an extended version of our podcast, you can definitely check us out on YouTube. Thank you guys.